Yeah.
Well, Mesopotamia is where they say it all started for our current paradigm and our current civilization. Like, that's where they say it's the cradle of civilization. It's between the Euphrates and the Tigris River in current day Iraq. So they
Right.
say everything started. But what had happened is like that was just a reemergence of the kind of like the greatness, the technology of man. Like, because we've been more advanced than this we currently are now. So like if you basically, like, mankind has been this advanced or greater several times. The Mayans talk about it. They talk about 5 different eras of human existence where we've come up through, like, the early stages of man, and we've also, like, risen to a peak, and then bam, cataclysm sets us back to the Stone Age, because that's what happens. We go back to a primitive nature because that's the only people that are surviving. A global cataclysm will cause, 95% of the world's population to be eradicated, to be killed, because they either can't survive or by the initial impact of whatever
Decimated.
Decimated. So, I mean, and they speak of, it's been floods, it's been like volcanic eruption, tectonic sort of plates. They talk about fires. They talk about,
and then think of where we're at. Earthquakes.
and it could be any of the above. The Earth is far stronger than humans will ever be, and that's
Right.
that's the bottom line. So, like, our current paradigm we're in now, I don't know which age it is, maybe the 4th, the 5th, whatever. It talks about how in the Mayan culture, it talks about like 2012, where it was freaked out, the world's going to end. No, that was just the ushering in of this new, what I'm going to call a paradigm, this new era. Okay, so
Which is crazy because how long ago was that?
what the last one? They say it was around 12,000 years ago when shit went down. Okay,
Which
so
isn't that long ago.
not
And
even
like
close.
the
In
timeline
in
of
the
like
whole timeline of the planet, we're talking
Right.
billions of years here. I mean, like, we're talking millions and millions of years, and the universe.
and then
is
you
billions
just
of years
said
old.
12,000. So that's like
12,000 years ago
minimal.
is when the is an event called the Younger Dryas event went down. Okay,
Okay.
It's where comets and meteorites came through the atmosphere, and they lined up perfectly because we're like in a shooting gallery in the universe. Okay, it's like, I mean, there's constantly bodies that are coming through, asteroids, comets, meteorites, whatever, are coming into the Earth's atmosphere, and when they do, they have tremendous heat because they're coming in with such force and such. It's just the nature of the way it
Yeah,
works.
absolutely.
So imagine a huge something the size of, like, Parks. Okay, we'll just say
Is
Park
this
City.
freaking you out?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So Park City, Utah. Okay,
Okay.
look it up if you don't know how big it is. Say there was a meteorite the size of that comes in, and parts of it burn up, but it hits. We're talking something bigger than that, right? I don't even know why I would reference Park City. Like, we're talking about a huge.
You were thinking about your family in Park City.
Work
It's
with
okay.
me. Work with
I
me.
am.
So
I am.
all of a sudden we have we don't know exactly how it went down. Whether it was a series of comets, a series of meteorites, what have you. They hit the ice sheet in northern Canada, up near Greenland, right? And it is a really thick. I mean, because most of the poles, all the way down to, like, say North Dakota, and all the way up to, like, Peru down south. Like, the poles,
It's all connected.
it's all ice at this point. It's all
Right.
ice because it's frozen. It's a different time. It's different weather patterns and all that. So they hit these flaming balls of just, like, cosmic debris come into our atmosphere, just flaming. They have these huge tails, and they hit with such force. I mean, we're talking like millions of Hiroshima bombs, like millions of nuclear weapons hitting at once. So automatically that fucks up the atmosphere, right?
Is that where you want them to like hit?
No,
like,
I don't want them to hit anywhere. Because it's gonna be an end all. Like, we're gonna be extinct overnight if this happens again.
Oh fuck. Okay.
So what had happened was they had hit with such tremendous force. So, and also that much, like, heat and fucking energy hitting that obviously is going to melt all that ice, even if it is 7 miles thick. Okay, so all of a sudden you have like 400-foot waves just washing across North America,
Just
like tidal
wiping
waves
out
across and wiping
everything.
out all the major fauna, like in North America. We used to have this, like, Great Plains the same way that Africa is, like, where, like, all these, like, wildebeest and predators and lions, all these things hunt on this vast plain. It was the same way in North America.
When it was Pangea.
Woolly mammoths. They found woolly mammoths, like, encrusted in ice and stuff, that have their, like, legs broken because they were knocked over so quickly that they couldn't even, like, adjust to that, and they had their legs broken. Like, that's how fast this shit came through.
Damn.
and they're maybe they're in a cold region, they were preserved in ice, what have you. So that's why like a tremendous amount of the megafauna, the large animals on the plains of North America, were just wiped out. There's no record of them, and they find them, they're all jumbled up and shit. Okay, so these like huge things happen. These striking events. So all this ice is now melted. What's going to happen? The sea levels are going to rise, of course, right?
Yeah.
And there's when you start to get into your thing that's been accounted for in every sort of like civilization in our current paradigm. Everybody's got a creation, myth. They're deemed myths now. They're actually stories, but they have a flood. The Bible, Noah in the flood, build the fucking ark and all that shit. Like,
so it's like the 500 people that survived that wrote this story.
It's later people remembering it. Was an oral tradition. They just spoke it from generation to generation. It was an oral tradition for many years, and finally was written down. And now we like hold it as though it's like like whatever. But like every civilization,
you said that so much better than I did.
Every civilization has these. It's a diluvian. It's pre-diluvian is what we're talking about here. Pre-flood sort of civilizations. Now, if you're super advanced, okay, like look at it now.
Diluvian's a good word, by the way.
It's a great word. It's great, and it perfectly describes what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Pre-diluvian civilizations are pre-flood civilizations, which come from the previous paradigm era, whatever you want to call it. So now we're looking at like. So look at it now. Like if the sea levels rose 400 fucking feet,
we'd be fucked.
We would be underwater right now.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it, the majority of the population worldwide lives within 100 miles of the coast. Okay, so
the majority.
The majority, oh yeah, by far the majority. Like a large percentage, I don't know the exact percentage, but a large percentage of the world's population lives within 100 miles of the coast. Worldwide. Look at all the major cities.
Okay, so our families in Utah are good though.
They might have beachfront property at this point, you know what I mean? But the point is that, and you look at all the centers that are like the heads of development, you know what I mean? Like, and technology. You look at like, everything like Hong Kong, San Francisco, Los Angeles. All of those are underwater, okay? So
right.
All your main hubs of entertainment, culture, and technology all erased in a night, in an evening, in a one event, gone. Okay.
Is that weird that kind of makes me a little bit happy? That bullshit that doesn't really matter like is wiped out first, and then like real life.
So intertwined into our existence now at this point. Like, I mean, you're recording this on a phone, and we're sitting in a house that has electricity provided for by this current. Like,
you're right.
So everything we know and everything we have come to just like take as just the way things are.
Yeah.
All are hinged on this certain sort of paradigm staying intact. Okay. Overnight, if it's destroyed, okay, the remaining people,
how would I call my mom?
You wouldn't call her mom. You'd never see your mom again.
I'd be like...
You'd never see her, like, quite frankly and honestly, you'd never see your mom again, okay?
Don't ever say that to me again.
I love you, mama, but, like, that's the way it is. Like, if you weren't with your immediate, like, you're going to be trying to survive with your immediate group. We'd already be dead. You and I, right now, as we film this video or whatever, we'd automatically be dead, okay? Like, we're in, like,
absolutely, we're right next to the fucking...
We're above coast. A tsunami zone. If there was a tsunami, we're not talking about a 400-foot tsunami that's coming from the opposite direction, from the land out to the sea. Because that's what was going on.
Oh shit! Okay.
And it's full of debris. It's full, like, fucking forget about it. Could you imagine looking up and seeing a 400-foot wave come over the fucking hill from San Jose?
No, I can't. I'd be like, all right, bye.
I mean, like, might as well kiss somebody next to you and just like try and go out with a bang because you are you are so dead. It's like
hold whatever humankind you have, like right there, and just be like,
till that goes down, okay? And
then
we're just like a blink in this whole thing. We're just a blink in this whole thing of Earth, because Earth is so much older than us. It's going to be here before us. It was here before us. It's going to be here after us, right? So this all happens to like about 12,000 years ago, 12,500 years ago. The Younger Dryas happens, okay? So there was a global civilization that was present, okay? Several different civilizations. And
do you think we're gonna be like dinosaurs to like the civilizations that happen after us, after like global warming take over the planet, and then all of a sudden there's like a different thing that happens? Like,
me personally, what do I think?
Yeah,
I don't think that we're even going to get to that point, because already right now
we just fucked it all up.
We don't have, like, it's so hard for us to find even like a jawbone of like our ancestors right now. It's so hard for us to even find that like the only reason we find dinosaur bones is because they're usually in a great concentration together, and they're so big, they're just enormous. So you can find them easier. But like humans, we're having trouble even like trick. But what we're finding more and more is we go way back, like farther and farther back.
Just because we're building civilizations on top of
that also plays a role.
What has happened, but archaeologists have found many.
See, archaeologists. The problem with archaeology.
I want that job.
The problem with archaeology is this: like, you get funding from institutions that are established and want to keep that like sort of status quo intact. So that's the same reason why the Egyptian government, up to this point, they keep a lot of shit fucking private.
Well, also, and they're digging in places that are not like built upon, and so like, who knows what's under everything that.
A lot of sites too. It's like you keep going down, it goes older and older and older because they would just build upon the ancient sites. There's cities like Damascus and places in the Middle East that are like. They've been there since day one in our whole, like, this whole current paradigm.
And then here we are, just like, boom, 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 boom.
So what do we build houses out of now? We build them out of wood, concrete, things like that, right? Which lasts for a while, a couple hundred years maybe. Okay, let's start talking.
Couple hundred years, do you think this house?
No, I don't think so. But I'm saying, like, but you think, like, start thinking about, like, okay, that maybe lasts for a couple hundred years, okay? And then by that time, there's nothing left. Maybe the foundation, that's it, okay? So start going back like 1,000 years. Okay, there's a few places around the world that survived now, and then go back like 10,000 years. Okay, then tens of thousands of years. Maybe go back 100,000 years.
Can you imagine being that skull that was found? You're like, that's
there's nothing
me.
Left of like what people are like. Well, what's the evidence of this great civilization or previous civilizations?
Like that one skull and those two teeth.
Fuck the skulls. I mean, don't.
Okay, sorry.
But like. What would be their legacy? What would be still here that we could actually see that was tangible? Like if they built it out of wood, it would be
the fact that they existed.
Concrete would be gone. There would be no evidence of that, though. What would be the only thing that you could actually leave a legacy with eternally, somewhat, or just for a long, long time?
The fact that someone existed that long ago. I mean, history, right?
But how do you know that they did?
Because you found their remains, right?
That just shows that you found some bones. Like, you can date how old the bones are, but
which is epic in and of itself.
People do that now. That's what mainstream archaeologists do. They see these bones and they do the carbon dating testing on them. And and they fit into this certain paradigm about, okay,
I went to school for the wrong thing.
So you're only looking for evidence that fits into your current paradigm, that you made your career on, that you get funding for. You're trying to make it fit into a certain box.
Okay, so what's your point?
I got a lot of points here.
I know.
So the thing is, like, what would survive that long? Stones.
Right.
Rock. Things that were carved in stone. So even now, as we sit here on the verge of the year 2020, okay, we could not do some of the feats that the most ancient building sites have done. The most ancient cultures, like, they see, they're like, okay, like the Egyptians, for example. The Old Kingdom is allegedly the ones that built the pyramids, and they built all these other things that are like fantastic sites, right?
And he just went there.
So I've seen these things firsthand, and like you look at so like that dynastic Egyptian culture breaks down into 3 eras essentially, right? Dynastic meaning like the pharaohs were in charge of the country, so it's the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom, right? So the Old Kingdom is what they attribute the pyramids built to. The Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the most perfect structure ever conceived by mankind. The Great Pyramid of Giza.
I've been inside.
I've laid in the the so-called. I've been in the King's Chamber and laid in the so-called sarcophagus.
Guys, are you fucking kidding me? That's so dope. Okay.
That's a whole other story right there. The vibe in there was so intense and so just like.
Ooh.
So
it's
perfect. They say it was built like 4,000 years ago, roughly, whatever. So
and there was like so many human bodies building that.
It contains. Okay, so they say it was built for they say it was built for a pharaoh for his like eternal tomb because the Egyptians were way into the afterlife and all that, right?
How many pharaohs were buried in there though?
Not one. Not one. Zero. Zero pharaohs were built in there.
Are you fucking kidding me?
We're buried in there. Because here's the thing. Okay.
There were so many slaves that built that shit.
No, I don't think so though.
Why?
So here's the thing about the pyramid. There's 2 million blocks of limestone that all weighed at least 2 tons each. I mean, we're talking huge blocks of limestone, the size of maybe this closet right here. Okay, that's what they stacked one on top of each other. It still stands perfectly like aligned.
One motherfucker was buried in there.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, so you look at like this is in the New Kingdom in Egypt, in the pharaonic in the dynastic past or whatever. Okay, so you hear like Tutankhamun, you know, Ramses the Great, all these pharaohs. They were in the New Kingdom, right? So you look at that, and they all buried their dead in the Valley of the Kings. Okay, the Valley of the Kings is this spot where it's like this really harsh sort of environment outside of Luxor, and you go in these like, you know, this like canyons, and they have these tombs that are cut into the limestone in the side of the cliffs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you walk into these tombs of the pharaohs, right? They were buried out here because it was to keep it like low key, low profile, right? But you walk into these tombs, and from top to bottom, like on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls, everything is all hieroglyphs, all telling a story about that pharaoh, how great he was, who he conquered, all of his, you know, vanquished enemies, everything about his life, even shit that's not even like truly happened. It's just like makes him like seem more grandiose than he actually was. Top to bottom, these are what tombs look like for pharaohs. Okay, these are what tombs look like. Okay?
Yeah, but you just said no one was buried there.
So you're gonna let me get to that.
Okay.
So these tombs that were cut into the hillside, and these the limestone, and they're tremendous in their own right. You know what I mean, they're
so they just like sorry, but they just put so many slaves in charge of building that pyramid with no pharaohs being.
So here's
buried.
that's
why there's aliens. I swear to fucking God.
About it, though, okay. Because I've been in these tombs in the Valley of the Kings. Like I said, top to bottom hieroglyphs, telling about the whole story. The Book of the Dead is, you know, the funerary texts are all on the walls. Everything. It's like amazing. It's all in color and it's beautiful. Okay. That's what a tomb looks like to send the pharaoh to the afterlife. Okay. There's not one single hieroglyph in all of the Great Pyramid. The most perfect structure ever built by humans. There's not a single hieroglyph.
I'm fucking disappointed.
But let's take a look at that, though. There's not a single hieroglyph.
You're not disappointed by that?
It's not a tomb. That's why. It's not a tomb.
It's a portal.
It's something. We don't even know what it is.
It's a fucking portal to space.
Some people say it's a power plant. People say it's a power plant.
A power plant? What the fuck? That's like the most like redneck way to describe this shit.
Because underneath Giza, underneath the plateau, there's like aqueducts that are carved naturally out of the limestone. Okay, the water table falls and goes, which creates an electric current. Okay, and these blocks of limestone are incredibly electroconductive, right? And then it was sheathed, okay, like on an outside casing stones. By
all the slaves.
No. I think those were by artisans, like by skilled artisans.
Darling, it was a lot of slaves.
I disagree with you, but we can get that another time. So, what you're dealing with then?
Motherfuckers had like that shit on their back, though.
You think they really? Have you? I mean, we're talking about stones. Some of these stones in the Great Pyramid are granite, first of all, which is one of the hardest stones ever. Like, it's one of the hardest stones on the planet. Okay.
Granted, I was talking about aliens for a second, but like, how the fuck?
Mainstream archaeologists,
humankind, they just like built.
See, that's the thing. Anybody that claims they know, they don't know shit because they don't know. They weren't there. Okay, there's a lot of different theories.
You're right. I wasn't there.
Nobody knows. Like,
kind of wish I was.
There is some stones in there. We're talking like pushing up on like 80 tons. Okay, these are fucking enormous. 80
so
tons.
How do you explain it?
I don't know. I don't claim to know, but I know that it was not a fucking tomb built in the fucking Old Kingdom for Pharaoh Snefru or fucking Khufu or whatever they say. You know, it's just simply not. So supposedly the Pharaoh that built the Great Pyramid was by a pharaoh named Khufu, and the only thing they've ever even found of him, they found one little like cartouche of his in the fucking pyramid. Okay, but it was probably graffiti from a later culture. Okay, probably a later explorer. What's his name?